Probably one of the most important things that I did was to research it. I got all the information about the external grad assistantship and how many hours I would be working a week, my obligations to the school, what the school's obligations to me would be, and any of the financial stuff involved in it. So that way, whenever I approached a principal or counselor, I could give them all the information. The next thing I did was just start looking for schools that I thought that I would actually like to work at. So schools that were in my hometown that had principals and people that I already knew. That was the very first place that I went. I did run into some dead ends there, but those people were actually able to refer me to other schools that they knew who were looking for people. The other thing that I did was look on the Illinois State Board of Education website, and they have a place that lists all of the education openings in the state of Illinois. So if I saw a school on there that was in my area that was already looking for a counselor, I thought that would be a great place to start. Actually, I heard about the external grad assistantship through one of the meetings that all students are required to go to for internship and practicum. So it caught my attention, and I checked into it by just stopping in the office and speaking to Debbie about it. And she actually provided me with a sample contract so that whenever I approached different principals and superintendents, I had all the information right there in front of me. I actually began by speaking to people one-on-one. I would probably first talk to the counselors at the school. That's a good way to get your foot in the door, and just ask them, do I speak to you or do I speak to the principal if I'm looking to do an internship this next year? So once they would kind of give me the go-ahead, I would either give them the information or I would speak to the principal. I also would use email for schools that weren't necessarily really close to me. I would just shoot them a quick email and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is the money involved, these are the hours involved, and if this is something you're interested in, you can contact me at this number, or I would be happy to meet with you face to face. Yeah, actually, one of the school districts that I contacted that I had found on the website that I previously mentioned was looking for a full-time position. So whenever I spoke with them, they said, well, I know you're not graduated, but there is some paperwork that can be filled out that we can actually hire you for this next school year as a full-time counselor. So that was one option that I didn't even know was a possibility until I got into the interview. Another option that actually is kind of currently taking place is that the internship that I'm getting ready to begin, they were also looking for a full-time counselor. So they are hiring me this next year as an external GA, so I'll pretty much work full-time hours. However, I have the internship title, and then considering how things go this next year, I will hopefully be hired on as a full-time counselor the following year. I just think the most important thing is to sell yourself. If you do the research and you have the numbers in front of you, to approach a person or a principal and say, okay, you can hire me for $800 a month, or you can hire a full-time counselor for $30-some thousand a year, and I can do the exact same stuff and work the same amount of hours. It's just a really hard deal for them to pass up, is what many of them said to me.